Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class for the 21st of May, 2022. What we'll be dealing with later on in the class for the Sabbath class and the Sabbath discussion will be we'll be backtracking on the covenant with David and bringing out more points on it and reiterating things that were already revealed. Okay, so and that way to help the people that's coming in that don't, not familiar with it. So with that being said, I was gonna say like and share, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? And hit the Prophets of Awakening, hit the notification button because that's needed. Get my subscribers up. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. In other words, it's OT only. The Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. That's from Genesis to Malachi, the Holy Scripture. And the Torah is the first 5 books that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by Israel's Redeemer and Holy One, the Lord of Hosts. So I want to say shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to this our Sabbath class. So we're going to do our moment of silence, Sabbath prayer. We're going to read the Psalms, do a little current events, and then we'll go into some need-to-know information. Then we're going to open it up for some Q&A, comments, and a little dialogue. Then we're going to our Sabbath class, Sabbath discussion. Okay? That moment of silence is in regards to the Lord of Hosts and his counselor, Yahweh, and all that they are doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance from the lands of our enemies, which you were scattered some 2,500 years ago because of our disobedience. Oh Lord, we come before thee on this Sabbath day, bow down with great respect for our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. And you have confessed through your prophet Isaiah that you would return us, you would return unto us, that you would pour out your spirit upon us. And you have done it, O Lord, in great fashion. And because of this, O Lord, we have found you within the Holy Scriptures, great in counsel, mighty in works, where thine eyes are open upon the ways of men, to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. O Lord, behold, thou hast made the heavens and the earth by thy great power, stretched out arm. There is nothing too hard for thee. And we as Israelites, knowing all these things, O Lord, we eagerly await thy coming, the day in which thou wilt break the yoke of our oppressors and turn our captivity. Peace be unto you. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to read a Psalms, like the book of Psalms. Okay? So I'm going to read Psalms 31. It says, it's a Psalm of David. And so, like I said, I continue to say on this platform is that, if you want to do what somebody said do what David did. So right here in Psalm 31, it says, in thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. So David, this is, whoever this is, this Lord, David got his trust in, that's the Lord I want to be dealing with. So it says, in thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in thy righteousness. Bow down thy ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be thou my strong rock, for a house of defense to save me. For thou my rock and my fortress. Therefore, for thy name's sake, lead me and guide me. Pull me out of the net that they have laid previously for me. For thou art my strength. Into thy hands I commit my spirit. Thou hast redeemed me, O Lord, God of truth. I have hated them that regard lying vanities, but I trust in the Lord. I will be glad and rejoice in thy mercy, for thou hast considered my trouble. Thou hast known my soul in adversities, and hast not shut me up in the hand of the enemy. Thou hast set my face in the Lord's room. I have mercy. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am in trouble. Mine eyes is consumed grief, yea, my soul and my belly. For my life is spent in grief, and my years with sighing. My strength faileth because of mine iniquities, and my bones are consumed. I was a reproach among all mine enemies, but especially among my neighbors, and a fear to my acquaintance. They that did see me without fled from me. I am forgotten as a dead man, out of mind. I am like a broken vessel, for I have heard the slander of many. Fear was on every side, while they took counsel together against me. They devised to take away my life, but I trusted in thee, O Lord. I said, thou art my God. My time are in thy hands. Deliver me from the hand of mine enemies, and from them that persecute me. Make thy face to shine upon thy servant. Save me for thy mercy's sake. Let me not be ashamed, O Lord, for I have called upon thee like the wicked, and let the wicked let the wicked be ashamed, and let them be silent in the grave. Let the lying lips be put to silence, who speak grievous things proudly and contemptuously against the righteous. Oh, how great is thy goodness, which thou hast laid up for them that fear thee, which thou hast wrought for them that trust in thee before the sons of men. Thou shalt hide them in the secrets of thy presence, from the pride of men. Thou shalt keep them secretly in a pavilion from the strife of tongues. Blessed be the Lord, for he hath showed me his marvelous kindness in a strong city. For I said in my haste, I am cut off from before thine eyes. Nevertheless, thou heardest the voice of my supplication when I cried unto thee. I love the Lord. O love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully reward the proud doer. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. So that was Psalms 31. The title is "In Thee, O Lord, Do I Put My Trust." It's a Psalm of David. Okay. Anybody got any comments on anything that was read? You want to shine a light on before I go in? Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I'm in Psalm 31, and it says, right here, verse 4, Psalm 31:4. Pull me out of the net that they have laid previously for me, for thou art my strength. Like I was saying, you got two different groups of people that come out of the garden. You got Cain's descendants, which serpent is Cain's father. You know, you can go to Prophet Awakening and look at those videos and check them out about the serpent seed, how, you know, what Cain's origin was. So Cain's not listed in Adam's lineage in Genesis chapter 4, starting at verse 16. It's Cain's lineage. Get to chapter 5 and Adam's lineage. Cain not listed in Adam's lineage because Adam ain't on his father. So these are two races that come out of the garden. Cain and his descendants are adversaries, enemies to Adam's descendants. So he says right here, and then we know later on in Genesis chapter 6, giants were born. That's another group of people that's adversaries to Adam's descendants. So it says, Psalm 31, verse 4, pull me out of the net that they have previously for me, for thou art my strength. So these people you're talking about, David saying these Gentiles and these wicked ass people and set up a trap for him. And not only him, Israelites, especially now in these days, they didn't add it to the Most High's book which is the Old Testament, and then added a whole other book to it and got us all thrown off. Everybody that's dealing with it, they caught in the net, just like David telling you right here. And you gotta understand that and pray for guidance and understanding that He leads you to the right place and dealing with the right people to get you out of that net. So anyway, uh, that's what verse 4 was talking about. And verse 5 says, "In thine hand I commit my spirit. Thou hast redeemed me, O Lord God of truth." It says, "I have hated them that regard lying vanities, but I trust in the Lord. And I will be glad and rejoice in the mercies, for thou hast in thy mercy, for thou hast considered my trouble, and thou hast known my soul in adversity." And the other one I want to go to is David says, 16, Psalm 31:16, "Make thy face shine upon thy servant. Save me for thy mercy's sake." Right? What mercy are you talking about? Let's go. Psalm 132. You get it? Psalm 132 says, let me see, my page. Okay, you start reading. Psalm 31:32 says, "Lord, remember David." And remember David. See, that's who talking over there in Psalm 31. "Lord, remember David and all his affliction, how he was sworn to the Lord, how he vowed unto the mighty God of Jacob. Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor unto my bed. I will not give sleep to mine eyes, or slumber unto my eyelids. Okay, until I find a place for the Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. Lo, we heard of it in the Ephesus. We found it in the field, in the woods. We will go into the tabernacle, unto his tabernacle. We will worship at the footstool. Arise, O Lord, into thy rest, thou in the ark of thy strength. Let the priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout aloud for joy. For thy servant David's sake, for thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thine anointed. The Lord hath sworn on the day, and he will not turn from it. Of the fruit of his body will he set upon his throne. And I will, it says, and if I will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon the throne forevermore. For the Lord hath chosen Zion, and he hath desired it for his habitation. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her with visions, and I will satisfy her poor with bread. And 16 is with the mercy, his tender mercies toward David. I will also clothe her with priests and salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There will I make I will make the horn of David the blood. I will ordain a lamp for mine anointing. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. So he promised David that he will bring to him back in the end and put him upon his own throne, which is what the lesson is going to be about later on. But right here, he's telling them that you know you're gonna pass away, and every king after you, until I bring you back, gonna be out of your lineage. That's tender mercies and the covenant he got with David. That's just part of it, but we'll go into it later on in more depth. So anyway, that's what he was talking about in Psalms 131. We mentioned tender mercies of David. Tender mercies, David mentioned the tender mercies that the Lord always have toward him. Right? He's reminding them of that. Okay, so with that being said, anybody got any current event?
Shalom.
Okay.
I just know yesterday, you talked about the fires in Texas, and we know they're continuing in California and Mexico. But not
Okay.
only that, the tornadoes that's hitting, Michigan area and things like that. So the weather is really getting intensified
Yeah.
right now. So when, it may say 60% rain, but out of that rain, all of a sudden, tornadoes come in the midst of that.
Right.
But they're not, mentioning that at all.
Right.
So we
Right.
just have to, yeah, keep a lookout for that.
Right. Right. And those that's not privy to that area. That's the thing. The reason, another reason why you're not really not. They know something else going on because of stuff happening in areas that don't normally happen in those areas. It's like, well, here in New Orleans, we already know hurricanes coming down through there. So that's a tornado alley. But to have tornadoes and hurricanes in places like Michigan and all that, that's not usual. That's not normal. Even fires. So there's something else going on. But
Right,
there's
right,
only one thing you have to go back and understand who you're dealing with and the person that you're dealing with, what they're capable of doing and what they've done already done in the past.
right, exactly. And it's so much happening between the weather and all the mass shootings that's, going on. I think they had one in Chicago here a couple of days ago, but it's just, so much going on. And,
Right,
they're keeping us distracted with all of that while they're behind the scenes doing the most.
right,
And
right,
we never know what that is.
right. So what another way to look at that is like I was saying about recompense, when you understand who the Lord of hosts is, and then you seeing, you gotta know you're gonna get recompense. Whatever it is you done, it ain't gonna be something else. It's whatever it is that you sold, you gonna get recompense on your own head. So for years and years and years, these people been using propaganda and the media and news outlets to lie to the Israelites. So guess what? We're in a place now where he's saying you want to lie to them. The Israelites moaned and groaned to Moses about uh, meat. He was already getting them angel food. They ain't grateful enough for that. He getting them angel food. They eating angel food the whole time in the wilderness, so they wanted some meat. So guess what? He brought an east wind, came by way of heaven down through and came on and went in the ocean, brought quail out and dropped the quail on the land for them to eat. But when they started eating it, he shoved it down their throat. So they've been giving us all this wicked ass propaganda all these years, using it as a tool against us. Well, he giving them so much propaganda they can't even handle it. They got an overload of propaganda. Come on. And they
Right,
got so much propaganda now, they can't do nothing with it.
right,
Okay.
right,
You want some propaganda and you want to lie, I'm gonna give you something to lie about. That's how
right.
you operate. So, and another thing I wanted to comment on that before I lose it is the Nile River. The Egyptians, when you understand who the Egyptians are, Cain had, Ham had 4 sons, right? And those Egyptians, the word for the Egyptians are the Mizraim. Those are giants. They got that I am on it. Go to Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy 2. And when the Israelites come through the wilderness, they come across all these different races of giants. Well, guess what? Those 200 angels that came down in the book of Enoch, they came down and landed Egypt. So you got Put, Shem, you got Put, Canaan, Mizraim, them giants. That's the Egyptians. So the Most High says that my people oftentimes went into Egypt, and the Egyptian Mizraim, the giants oppressed them. That's what. So these giants worship in the Nile River. That's in their nature, So like they worship their father up in these mountains. So they worship in the Nile River. So guess what? When the God that's over Israel came to Egypt, what did he do? He shut down the land. He shut down the Nile River. So that's what they worship. He showed them who controls the Nile River. Well, guess what the world doing today? They worship in America. Huh? They had no idea that nobody could come. And the Nile River was so magnified that they had no idea nobody. The Nile River gonna do this forever. The Nile is God's. Zeus and all them control the Nile River. That's what they believe. Zeus and all them and Osiris. and ISIS controlling our river. God's control. So he came and showed them who control. Well, he's doing the same thing
Right.
in America.
Yes, they think America's going to be forever.
Yeah, they think America's gonna be forever. So guess what? Look what
Mhm.
he's doing. He ain't doing no different. That's why it's detrimental to find out who this God is. That's doing all this. He ain't got nothing to do with the New Testament. He's been there. He's been there from the beginning. He's a strong one. Even the mafia got the Godfather that got enough sense to have a strong one. Do all the dirty work. He don't do nothing. He sits back. He got a strong one. He did went and sought him out. Found out that ex-marine or you know what I'm saying, or ex-boxer, somebody you know gonna knock you out. So this Most High, all that come from what the Most High set up. He got a strong one that he had from the beginning. That when you do the wrong thing, he gonna bring drama on you. You can guarantee it. You think you done got away, but it's coming. So let's look at who that is right quick. Ain't got to go but one place, and that's in Genesis chapter 1, right here. Let's look at it. You go strong one. Ain't Yahweh. Genesis chapter 1 says, in the beginning, Yahweh, God, created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. So the Spirit of God is angel God. Angels are ministering spirits. So we see right there that you see the Spirit of God moved upon that's him and the strong one. They're in the very beginning. And so we got to cut through all the paper chases. That's Michael L. Strong one. That's a strong one. That's who kicked Lucifer out of Kevin. That's who kicked Lucifer out of heaven. The strong one right here. Yahweh there in the beginning, and then strong one moving upon the deep on the water. Yahweh there and he there. And his name means he who is like Yahweh. So they justified this right here. They put them right there together. He was like Yahweh. So when Moses come on Mount Sinai, let's look at it right quick. We're gonna get off of this. So we go to chapter 3 in Exodus. And it says, uh, no, chapter 23. My bad. Chapter 23. 23 and 20. They get on Mount Sinai. We know this, all of them there. It ain't just Yahweh that came down in the cloud. It was him and these 7 angels that he formed in the beginning. Book of Enoch tells you that, chapter 20. He formed 7 angels in the beginning. So, Exodus 23 and 20. Behold, I sent an angel before thee. Tell Moses this on Mount Sinai. Behold, I sent an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. So what he talking about? His name in him. Michael El, he was like Yahweh. That's what he talking about. That's who that was with him in the very beginning in Genesis 1 and chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. So when it's time for Israel to be protected and brought out of captivity in Babylon, they found their own self in a pickle, dug a hole for themselves. Now they have to get out of it. Guess what? He sent this strong one, gave Israel over to him. That's who inherited Israel. He gave them over to him, told them go get them and bring them back and bring them to the land of Israel, to the land, promised land, right? Where you live at, where you dwell. So guess what? I just showed you it was giants all through that land, through the wilderness. Israel wouldn't have made it through the wilderness without him. That's why he sent it. Strong one. It's a El, a strong one, a mighty one over Israel. Okay?
Right. And in that chapter it says, behold, I sent an angel
Right. Exactly.
before thee.
Right. It even got El in the word angel.
Right. Come on.
We sitting there fumbling with it, talking about trying to make it out to be Yahweh. When Yahweh then allotted this over to to this angel, Michael, to be over Israel.
Right, right. So you know you got to realize he's just not no ordinary angel.
No,
You
no,
know what I'm saying?
exactly. He created him in the beginning. He's the first one he created.
Right, right.
He
Yes,
got
yes.
responsibilities. So he's the whole. He's the Lord over the Most High's host.
Right, right. God's name is in him, you
Right.
know? Yes,
Exactly.
indeed. Hallelujah.
And no difference, like I said, than the president and the secretary of defense.
Right,
You, you get into a conversation about war. You ain't talking to the president. You got to talk to the secretary of defense. Conversation about defending America is the secretary of defense over the army that you got to deal with. You know. So anyway, so that's ain't nothing new under the sun. But all this stuff came from the our culture and our records, but they've been denigrated they brought another agenda in when they came with the New Testament and skewed all our information. God, that's
right,
all something else. Yeah. So, but we're going to that a little further. And at 12 o'clock, I got a clubhouse class at 12. So we're going to go all the way in
right,
untethered, unchained on that at 12 o'clock. We're going
right.
to
It
take
was a wonderful class last night. Yes,
okay. So
yes.
with that being said, we're going to go into current events and want to shine a light on a couple of things uh, pertaining to the fact that, like I said, this place being destroyed. Just like he destroyed the Nile River, they didn't think they could do it. They're just destroying this place because of Israel here. Israel was in Egypt and they worshiped the Nile River. In order to get Israel out, he had to shut down the Nile River. So we over here in America, in order for us to get out of here, he got to shut America down. We're in the beast system. America is the head of the beast system. We're at the end of the beast system. Ain't no Antichrist coming. He already came. Way back in the end of the third beast, Antioch Epiphanes, ran the Israelites out, burned our records, tore the temple down, offered hogs and pigs on the altar, tabernacle, tore it down. But that ain't been conveyed to you as the Israelites because you got you off on something else. Most High prophesied about 4 beasts that was coming. Uh, the Babylonians, Medes and Persians, the Greeks and the Romans, but the Greeks ain't nowhere in the Old Testament. They've been taken out. And there's a reason they've been taken out. Because that's where the meat at. That's where the deception came in and during the third beast, when the Antichrist came and destroyed the Most High's people, his holy people. Okay? So anyway, he's doing the same thing now. Here go one of the examples. It's dealing with the trucking system. Like I said, the Nile River was the catalyst to Egyptian civilization that made it work. So he came in there and shut the Nile River down, which in turn shut Egypt down. It's trucking. People disregard and disrespect the understanding of what the truckers do and the system that the truckers deal with. You got America created these international highways and all that back in the day for one reason. It's a capitalistic society and these trucks transport everything. They might come over here on planes and come over here on ships, container ships, but when they get here, they got to be moved around to all different type of places. And this trucking system and these highways, interstates, is the vital part of American society. So let's look at what's going on with our trucking system. And you can put it off on JC or whoever you want to put it off on. I'm gonna show you who is doing it. So let's look at it. You go to the first one.
me tell you what's about to happen. All right. I am not in any way your financial advisor, nor am I your sage, nor am I a tarot card reader. But I am somebody who went through this in 2008 with a lot of real estate. And let me tell you what's happening. If you go back and you see the title of the video, 33% of the people are going to be bankrupt. 33% just leave the business because it's going to prove to them in the next 6 to 9 months how bad this business is, and they want security, and they're just going to leave. Like they're teetering right now, and once this next 6 to 9 months hits, they're going to be out. And then 33% of those are probably just going to coast right through because they have no debt, they're living in their truck, and they're going to be able to Forrest Gump through this stuff coming up. Here's what's coming up. Mortgage rates just got raised another 0.5 point yesterday. Tanker Monkey, what's happening? We're going to talk about Tanker Monkey too in a minute.
Do you need to be on this? Oh, you got it. Okay.
You going to pull it up?
Sure.
Let you do. They like listening to your British accent.
They do.
Here's what's going to happen. If you go back and you do any research, because in 2008, I remember fuel prices, gas prices in that case, because I wasn't in CDL 18-wheel big rig tractor trailer driving. I'll clap for West Cross. What's going on?
That's the second time I've missed the clap.
That's okay. Yesterday you were driving. I was in the back. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me barking. But in 2008, I remember the fuel prices, and in my case then, gas prices being through the roof. Through the roof. The roof is on fire. They were $5 a gallon plus. Go back and look. Don't ever believe what I tell you. Go back and look. Fuel prices for diesel trucks was at $5+ a gallon in 2008. Freight rates and the freight out there dropped through the floor. Just under 800 trucking companies went out of business in 2008. Just under 800. I want to say, I'm going from memory because I scanned this last night during my 30-minute DOT. I want to say that it was 12,000 trucks. About 6% of the national trucks on the road at that point went away. Okay. And they said it happened. All the owner ops back then, all the companies back then said it happened overnight. Now I've seen this coming. Some of the sites we're paying attention to buy one more rental property because again, cash is king right now. Cash was trash 8 months ago. That's what I felt. But then the market began turning. These mortgage rates, another 0.5 point up. Mortgage brokers just went out of business yesterday. Only 5% of the people in America can even refinance and lower their rate from where it is now. Only 5%. So mortgage brokers just went out of business. Who's going out of business next? Realtors. I didn't understand how strong the market was the last 2 years until we went to buy some property in Wyoming.
Yeah, wow.
4 weeks ago, and I realized how bad the realtors were, how weak they were, they just didn't need to have any game at all because everything was a seller's market. It was so strange to me because one of the guys we were dealing with, I asked him twice because we put some offers on some places in his town. I said, "Well, here I'll sign your buyer's agreement." He's, "We don't do those. We work for the seller." 67% of the tech firms in San Francisco do not make money. So when this economy turns off, they're going to be like, they're already starting to lay off. There's people on some of the socials recruiting saying, "Hey, if you got laid off from tech, please reach out to us. We might be needing some help," but nowhere near the pay you were making in Frisco. All of this is happening. Did you guys hear? You guys watching all these fires that are happening at all these food processing plants? Did you see yesterday, I think it was, a Walmart distribution center up in Indianapolis burned to the ground? A Walmart distribution center on top of the other 16, 20 fires they've had across the nation in food production facilities. Stuff's going on. Yeah. Diesel fuel still going through the roof. The rates are dropping. Some of you are over leveraged. You can't even take care of the home bills right now. And I'm not saying this with any kind of haughty or arrogant attitude. Trust me, I'm not. I feel for you guys if you weren't in trucking in 2008 and you didn't have to like go from the owner lease op side back to the company owner driver side and just make it work. I feel for you guys that are out there to have a big old truck payment. You overfinanced $175,000 worth of that truck payment. Here's what I'd be doing right now. If I had a big old truck payment, I'm sorry, pardon me. If I had a truck that was paid off,
If we had a truck.
wrong pronoun. If we had a truck that was paid off, thank you. Give me a high five on that.
High five.
Good job,
I'm a
girl.
Hurricane 4.
We're Hurricane 4. If we had a truck that was paid off, like a lot of the people I'm speaking to on the phone did, and it was under 700, 800,000 miles, I would be selling that bad boy. I'd be cashing that thing out as quick as I could, still try to hope you get 20, 30, 40 grand over the market price. Take that money, get all my personal debt out of the way. Because one of the things for us, and she's seen this.
Okay. Any comments on that? Yeah, you see how that see how what he telling you was going on with the trucking system, how it's going to the dogs. And notice he kept mentioning 08. That's when the last collapse happened. It was in 08. And he's showing you how all the trucking system went first. And everything went else behind it. Same thing happening now. And it started with the high gas prices. Don't think that Russia and China didn't know that. So the same thing going on now. That's one example. We go another. Any comments on that? Okay. Okay.
With that being said, let's talk about the truck industry a little bit right now. Trucking industry. First of all, I've been in it for 16 years now. February made my 16th year at this. 13 years owner operator, and just having a great time with it. So let's run it back a little bit. From what I know is, it's cyclical. We go up, we go down, we go sideways. I can tell you right now, a month from now, trucking will be different than it is right now. That's about the only thing I can tell you. I can't tell you to be better or worse. But if we go back, maybe like, to me, throughout the years, it seems like trucking, the industry itself, is on about a 3 to 4 year cycle. It seems like it goes up and then it kind of evens out and then it comes down a little bit. And that's kind of what I've noticed, 3 to 4 years. So if we go back 3 to 4 years, that puts us like 2018. 18 was not a great year. Like as far as overall, 19 was pretty crappy, I thought. 20 started off pretty rough, but boy, she came on really nice. 2021 was phenomenal, probably the best year I've ever experienced in trucking. And everybody was high hopes for 2022. The party's never going to end. The disco ball's never going to quit spinning. The tide's never going to go out. It's living life. You know what I'm saying? We're just doing it over here. And everybody had their glow sticks out and they were just, dancing. And I mean, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then 2022 rolled around and somebody turned the damn lights off on us. I'm just saying. Somebody's turned the lights off. Fuel's going up. Rates are going down. It's not really the way you want trucking to work, to be honest. So with that being said, I think I can't predict the future. I'm just telling you where we're at and what's going on. And I've been through this numerous times. And when we were up this last time, we went way, way up. And we tried to do that in 2018. We tried to go up. But what happened was the mega carriers had plenty of people to put through the puppy mills, the truck driving schools, and they had plenty of equipment they could go out and buy. But in 2020, near the end, in 2021, they couldn't do that. There was not a surplus of trucks to be bought, and there was not a bunch of drivers because truck driving schools hadn't been pushing people through because of, what happened at the early 2020. So it was like the perfect storm for us to get these amazing rates. And just so happened fuel was cheap as well because, wasn't as much demand for it. And, we actually produced, oil in this country, kind of helped us a little bit too. So with all that going on, that's just a brief view of why we went so high. Now, I know a lot of people jumped into trucking, and this is something I want to talk about is, there was a YouTuber, his name is Ken V. No, I'm just bringing this up because of his situation right now. I seen a video. I didn't really follow Ken V. To be honest with you, he wasn't on my radar. There's like 1 million YouTube truckers now, and he just was one that I did not follow. And I seen the other day that, apparently he had built himself a nice business, respect on that, put in the hard work and did the job and got it done and got rewarded for it. And now he's talking about he's going to sell everything and get out of the trucking industry. Okay. And to me, the reason I wanted to make this video was to talk about the situation of he's in, but not just him. Thousands of other truckers are in his position right now. They got in, they made a ton of money, and now what are you going to do? Are you going to leave or are you going to stick around? Because let me tell you, if you're going to stick around, it's not going to be pretty. Like, the downside of trucking is never pretty. Any
comments on that? Like I said, it's not looking good. This the golden card to the American society, the capitalist system, is these truckers. And we see through these 2 videos, it ain't looking good. But it's a hidden hand behind it. We got one more, and then we'll go into some need to know information.
Highly fragmented industry where it takes little more than a commercial driver's license and a truck to get into business. This makes it an appealing choice for workers looking to earn wages or even start their own companies. But it means the industry is subject to extreme boom and bust cycles. The COVID-19 pandemic has delivered its own challenges, including lockdowns, restrictions, troubles in the supply chain, and shocks to the broader economy. A large share of truck driving schools have shut down, some permanently, and there are shortages of new trucks which need to be replaced every few years. Drivers are badly needed, and the trucking industry has a very high turnover rate.
They're always looking for the next company that's going to pay them the most. It's not uncommon for a truck driver to have several jobs in 1 year, unfortunately.
The life of a truck driver is not the easiest. It can mean long trips away from home and tough conditions on the road. Stiff competition among thousands of trucking companies in America for contracts and for drivers contributes to the fragmentation and chaos and makes it difficult for companies to consolidate. Impending technological shifts, such as autonomously driven trucks, may change all of that. This could have huge implications for the future of the industry and for the roughly 3.5 million truck drivers now on America's roads. The freight business is 12% of the global economy. 40% of the global economy is dependent in some way on freight and logistics. Like shipping, trucking is part of the massive global supply chain and logistics industry that moves goods around the world. But these 2 links in the chain are extremely different in some key ways. Trucking is far more fragmented than shipping is. The top 10 shipping carriers represent 85% of shipping capacity. The top 10 trucking companies, on the other hand, only account for about 12% of the total trucking capacity. The largest asset-based trucking company in the United States is Knight-Swift. Based out of Phoenix, Arizona, it had revenues of $4.7 billion in 2020. The industry total is about $800 billion. The reason the industry is so fragmented starts with the fact that the barriers to entry are quite low. Whereas it costs tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars and at least a couple of years to build a single ocean-going container ship, a new truck can be bought for $150,000 to $200,000.
You can easily finance it through a bank. You don't have to have a lot of capital to do that, and you don't have to make plans that are measured in years.
Craig Fuller runs an industry news source called FreightWaves. Trucking runs in Fuller's family. Fuller's father started one of the largest privately held trucking companies in America, called U.S. Express, in 1985. His uncle started another very large company called Covenant. Fuller says the industry has changed a lot since his grandfather started in the business around the middle of the 20th century. The industry used to be highly regulated, but rules were relaxed in the late 1970s, and it became a lot easier for people to get into trucking. It's a lot more competitive, but also a lot less stable and more vulnerable to these big booms and busts. As with just about any other industry, when demand is strong, businesses are incentivized to take advantage of higher prices. They purchase more trucks, hire more drivers, and boost wages to attract workers. Different types of customers, so one company's business didn't really cannibalize the others. There were other features.
Latte, please.
Okay. Okay. So we see through this information right here that there's no different than the Nile River in Egypt and the impact it had on the Egyptian economy than the trucking system today in 2022. Same thing. And we know how the Lord of Hosts operates. You go straight to the jugular, cut the head of the snake off. That's what we're looking at. Trucking company going to the dog. This ain't the first time. It happened back in 2008. But this time it's way worse. Because it's coming off of the back of pandemic and the shipping industry all in shambles. You know, but like I said before, it's been prophesied. Okay, any comments on that?
Wow, did you see the part where they had the 18-wheeler, the self-auto drive? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, did you see that part? It's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And that is happening because they just want the freight delivered, because now there's so many rules, when it comes to truck driving. You have to stop after so many hours, take a break, get rest. They just want the freight moved. They don't care how it gets there. And there are, truck drivers that are saying that, driving these trucks are dangerous, especially going up in the mountains, when you got ice and snow, rainstorms, you're still driving through those conditions, but they don't want to pay them.
Right. So what happens is you got to shine a light on it. You go back and look at who's behind it. And this was nobody wants to know or want to, when you start trying to rightly divide the truth of the Tanakh, is that it's a group of people behind this that's done this, and they ruthless. So you have to ask yourself, during the transatlantic slave trade, it was about what they was going to get out of it. They didn't care about disrupting families and dragging people from one continent across the ocean to another one. So they're not looking at the fact that when you bring in these self-driving trucks, look at all the people and families you're gonna disassemble.
Right.
And all the drama and chaos you're gonna bring on these people. But they don't consider the people. And it's the same people behind all of it. They don't. It's about them, what they can get benefit out of it. And you don't have to look far. All you gotta do is look at who got all the money, who possessing all the wealth. It's not equally distributed upon over the whole planet. It's all piled up in one place with a specific group of people. And that's the ones behind it. That's who the credit's talking to. That's who God of Israel is talking to, is those people. We ain't talking, we ain't right dividing it. Yeah. So they behind it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get what they want at any cost.
At any cost, exactly.
Any cost, right.
Because the minute that they slip up, they're going down. So you're supposed to be expecting them to do what they do. You just gotta understand what the records that our Creator left for us, and the records that He uncovered, and everybody divide them and put them together, and then wait on Him. You know, He coming. He shut everything else down. He gonna shut this down. I'm gonna read something right quick. There's nothing, you know, and like I say, people not connected these dots. Let's look at it. It says, Haggai, they in Babylon. The Israelites in captivity in Babylon. We in captivity over here. We got to leave here. So let's look at it. Like I said, they in Haggai. We have to come out of Babylon 70 years almost. So let's look at Haggai. Let's look what he says he's going to do. I'm in chapter 2. It says, and he talking to Haggai. And again, the word of the Lord came to Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. See that? That's what we see going on right now. We got to leave here. And I will overthrow. See that? Overthrow the throne of kingdoms with an S on it. And I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathens. That's what we're dealing with now. That's what brought us here. And I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them horses, and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. In that day, said the Lord of hosts, I will take thee, O Zerubbabel, my servant, son of Shethel, said the Lord, and I will make thee as a signet, for I have chosen thee, said the Lord of hosts. So it's nothing new under the sun. He's shaking the kingdom now. Everything that you see in place was done under the auspices of these fallen angels and their children, and they built this up. That's why it's called the beast system, and it's contrary to the Most High's and Lord of Hosts nature and His people's nature. It's contrary to. So you gotta know He's gonna shut it down, and that's what we're witnessing. It only existed as long as He wanted it to exist to serve His purpose. And that purpose is already passed, because we waking up all over the place. Just like He said in Isaiah 44, 1-5, we're gonna wake up like willows by the water course, one at a time, and realize, who we are, seek our God, I'll find Him, because He's been denigrated, and then, we have to go, because we can't exist here with our minds open. The only way we existed here, the time we existed here was because we was blind. Didn't understand who we were. Didn't understand the power that we possessed, and the power that we wield, and the power that was over us. We didn't understand none of that. But now that we're waking up to it, we can't exist here no more. So it's like a domino effect.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to say a little comment before I, forget this, concerning the Lord of hosts. We, always talk about there's nothing that He does not know about, right? And He knows that His words, who He is, all of that has been tampered with, right?
Exactly.
But He knows the ones that are truly seeking Him. He knows the ones that are truly, discovering his word and connecting those dots. He knows that, and he's the one that, put us under these curses, right? So he knows everything.
Right.
So he sees what we are doing. For instance, connecting these dots and understanding that He is our Redeemer. Like we say, His name may be something else. We don't know.
Right.
But He knows that we are seeking the truth.
Right.
And truly finding out who He is.
Right. Exactly. A way to look at that is, and this another thing when it comes to mechanics, and that's what I try to do. Try to connect the dots to people. we go back and we know that the Creator is, Ezekiel chapter 1. It tells you he's consuming fire, but his image, he got the silhouette, the image of a man, but he's a complete consuming fire. Then he created 7 expressions of himself with these 7 angels. They created the image of a man. So then he comes and then he makes Adam. So Adam's descendants has his essence in them. So he drawing them. That's what's happening now.
Okay.
We being drawn. It's the ones that everybody ain't being drawn.
Exactly.
It's just like a magnetic effect. We being drawn. So let's look at that. So it was time for them to come out of Egypt. It was time for them to come out of Babylon. I'm in Ezra. I'm in Ezra. And it says, and that's all that's happening now. And that's where you're getting all the chaos from. Negroes with lack of understanding, contending with something, and you sitting there knowing that it's the truth of the matter, when they contending with it, And so you have to tally that up in your mind. So it says, this is when they got ready to go. He said in Daniel 9:25 that he's gonna have a commandment to go forth. That commandment came forth by Cyrus. I'm gonna read it right here. Now, in the first year of Cyrus, this is 70 years old. First year of Cyrus, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, put it in writing, saying, "Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and have charged me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judea." Just the commandment in Daniel 9:25. Now, 7 years is up. So guess what? Verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Benjamin, the priests, the Levites, with them whose spirit he had raised. Draw them. See that? He drawing these, he drawing them. There's nothing different than the same thing happening now.
Wow.
And he already prophesied there right here. He says in Isaiah, look at it. Isaiah, he prophesied it. We living in the midst of that right now. This was shutting down the church. Everybody trying to figure out why the church is getting shut down. Right here, Isaiah 44, chapter 44, starting at verse 1. Ye yet hear now, O Jacob. He's talking to Israel, a certain nation, DNA sequence. So, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen, thus said the Lord that made thee. See that? And formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. What he did when he formed them, made them in their image. And they made the image Yah. It's a frequency going on with that. So he says, "For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, floods upon dry ground, and I will pour my spirit out upon thy seed, and my blessings upon that offspring." So draw them. He's going to pour his spirit out. He's going to start drawing them. Everybody ain't going to be drawn. Everybody ain't going to receive. Everybody ain't going to receive the frequency because of their DNA, who they are. They're going to come up with every other bullshit as excuse rather than to deal with the truth. It's being laid out and laid out right in their face, but they're grappling with it. They can't connect it. Something going on with it. Okay?
Right. And you were saying earlier this morning when you was reading and last night also that he is not Yah and he is not claiming to be Yah. So when you read Isaiah 44:6, thus said the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first and I am the last, and besides me there is no God.
Right.
And reading Isaiah, last night, different scriptures that you were reading, if you really want to find out about your Redeemer, that's the book.
Right, exactly.
That is the book.
Right, exactly. And then and the bounce off of that, like I said, it's all through the scriptures. The bounce off of Isaiah 44:6, the conjunction, it says, he the king, Yahweh the king, and his Redeemer, Lord of hosts.
Hallelujah.
You go to the same thing when it says that he's I'm the heaven is my home, and the earth is my footstool.
Right.
Well, where the Lord of hosts dwell at? He dwell in Mount Zion. Where Yahweh dwell at? In heaven.
In heaven, yes.
So Yahweh the first. Who puts the stamp on it at the end? The Lord of hosts.
Yes.
You can phone with it all you want. Do
Yes.
what you want to do. You can speak Hebrew, Yiddish, whatever you want to be. The truth being broken down to you.
Right.
You know?
And it's simple. It's simple.
It's simple as because he is ordained.
Right.
He's ordained to come out. You got certain things for certain people to do.
Yes.
You can phone with it all you want to phone with it. It's being broken down for you.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so and it gets plainer and plainer as every day passes. You know? Okay, so I'm gonna play this little need to know information. Hold up.
Guys, is this what we've been waiting for? Let's talk about it. So if you haven't heard, there's been a lot of talk on the news about something new going around. There's a new panic, a new scare. And if you haven't seen what it is, it's the monkeypox. It's spreading rapidly throughout Europe, and cases are in the United States and Canada now. So this is something that I've been waiting for the next one to happen. We've been warned multiple times that something bigger is coming, that a more deadly variant is coming. We're always being warned that this isn't over yet. So we're seeing this spread actually at a pretty rapid rate. The cases doubled overnight in Europe. Stay tuned though, because we're going to talk about something. Why is this actually happening? And the timing of this is very suspicious. So let's dive in just a second, but let's talk about the actual pox for a second, because I just want to explain to people what this actually is and how serious it actually could be. Monkeypox generally runs its course, resolving on its own over a period of 2 to 4 weeks, according to the WHO. However, severe cases can occur. Today, about 3 to 6% of those infected with the disease die from it. So that's actually a kind of high death rate. We've seen previous death rates around like 1% or lower than 1%. So 3 to 6% would be multitudes higher than what we've seen in the past with our previous pandemic. So this is something we need to take serious. And it's not so much just the virus itself, which is serious, but it's also just the response to it and what we're going to have to deal with in response to this. Guys, look at China. They are spraying the streets with disinfectant. They have giant fire trucks driving around spraying the roads. Like, this is insane. This could go down a very insane rabbit hole. And we're getting closer and closer every day. We're going to talk about in just a second how we are doing that, because there's a new treaty that we just signed, or we're actually in the process of signing this week, that could be setting us up for a scenario just like China. It says infection can develop after exposure to broken skin, mucous membranes, respiratory droplets, infected body fluids, or even contact with contaminated linen. And there's actually been exercises based on monkeypox and what would happen if it was a global scenario and it was a global pandemic. So this was the Nuclear Threat Institute in Germany, and they partnered with the Munich Security Conference, and they did a test on what would happen if monkeypox escaped into the general public on a mass scale. And this is what they came up with. It says the exercise scenario portrayed a deadly global pandemic involving an unusual strain of monkeypox virus that emerged in the fictional nation of Britannia and spread globally over 18 months. Ultimately, the exercise scenario revealed that the initial outbreak was caused by a terrorist attack using a pathogen engineered in a laboratory with inadequate biosafety and biosecurity provisions and weak oversight. Sounds a little familiar, right? By the end of the exercise, the fictional pandemic resulted in more than 3 billion cases and 270 million fatalities worldwide. So I know these are war games, these are exercises to see. I know projections can be wrong. They've been wrong many times. But it's interesting to see that they've wargamed this scenario and they've projected 270 million fatalities. That's very interesting and a little scary if this actually does become a serious issue. So now let's dive into why. Why is this happening? What's the timing of this? The timing of this is very suspicious, to say the least. So let's dive into what's happening this weekend with the United States.
Everyone
United States and who? This January, the Biden administration submitted a series of proposed amendments to something called the International Health Regulations. Now, the Biden administration's amendments, along with those from several other countries, will be combined to create a new global pandemic treaty. Biden said, quote, "We need a pandemic treaty." That treaty is set to be adopted starting this weekend in Geneva at the World Health Assembly. So the World Health Organization and multiple other countries are entering into a pandemic treaty this weekend. And it just so happens that all these other things are popping off at the same time. It's pretty interesting, the timing of it, to say the least. And this is the official fact check because they've been saying, oh, it's not true. We're entering the treaty, but who doesn't have official power? So whatever. So it's a treaty, but who can't really do anything? Yeah, what are they supposed to do? They're not a government or anything. There's no recourse they can really do. But it's an official treaty. It's like these climate treaties that we enter. It's binding, and we end up following it, and we end up paying the price for it. So let's read what the literal official fact check says about this too. The international health regulations, which are aimed at detecting disease outbreaks, allow the WHO Director General to declare a public health emergency of international concern. The proposed U.S. amendments seek to strengthen the requirements for reporting such emergencies. Member countries agreed to abide by the guidelines, but the WHO does not have the power to enforce them, nor can it interfere with the country's decision-making process. So it's a binding agreement. It's an official treaty with other countries, but they're just saying, yeah, we can't really do anything to enforce it. But they don't need to force us to enforce it because it's just going to be used as the excuse from our leaders and from the people in government to do it. So they're going to say, we're part of this treaty now, and we signed on, and the WHO says we have to do this. So it really is signing over part of our sovereignty and part of our health system to a world government body. This is a World Health Organization. This is not part of America. This is a world body that we are giving part of our sovereignty over. And I know sometimes that can be good, sometimes it could be bad. I don't agree with WHO's track record.
Okay. Any comments on that? It seems like to me it's self-explanatory. Is it something?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And how many people you think are coming across this information? And a lot of videos that you're playing, they are the ones that are, the Caucasians are the ones that are putting out most of this information for our knowledge.
Right. Exactly. Right.
I don't know if anybody else is noticing that.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's what I was saying about having to making sure this stuff get recorded and played again. Because the guy even said with the trucking when 2008, it all happened overnight. So So it is, that's why it's detrimental right now to be, if you getting, like I said, most high sending out frequencies to Israelites. So if you receiving frequencies and you receiving things that you think, the inklings that you need to do, you need to go do them, because of this thing gonna hit the fan. You know, you think it's a coincidence that people is coming together, trying to build communities and all that. It's Most High is putting that out. That's what's happening. And we sitting there fumbling with it. I mean, look what happened in Buffalo, New York. You know, it's no different than that. Like I said, what happened in let me read that right quick. I mean, some of these things people they never cross it because they've been brainwashed to not read it. I mentioned Antioch Epiphanes earlier, and he the one ran the Israelites out. Not in 70 AD, he ran them out in 143 BC. Let's look at it right quick. Let's look at what was happening when they showed up. The Gentiles showed up 2,500 years ago. Says, let me get it. It says, and Judas fought against the sons of Esau and Edom, and against the Apatines, because they beset Israel. And he dealt with them a severe blow and crushed them and plundered them. I'm in the first book of the Maccabees. And he remembered the wickedness of the sons of the king, who became a snare and a stumbling block for the people, for the Israelites, lying in wait for them upon the road. Just after Antiochus came, all these people hated Israelites before they came, but it was nothing they can do. But as soon as the Greeks showed up, Antioch Epiphanes showed up in Jerusalem and started destroying the Israelites, they all participated. They all came together with them. And it says, and he shut them up in their towers. He camped against them and utterly destroyed them and burned their towers with fire and all who were in them. And he passed on them. And can we keep going? Let me go. It says, let me get it. These just examples. Okay, let me get it. Right, here you go. It says, this Antiochus. And when his rule appeared, the Antiochus is to be established, you can see the idea of becoming king of Egypt. So that he might reign over 2 kingdoms. He entered Egypt with a strong force, with chariots and elephants, cavalry, and a great fleet. And he made war with Ptolemy of Egypt. And Ptolemy turned and fled before him, and many fell wounded. And they captured the walled cities in the land of Egypt, plundered the land of Egypt. And after subduing Egypt in the 130, these Gentiles, okay, they say, after subduing Egypt in the 143rd year, Antiochus turned back and came up against Israelites, right? And entered Jerusalem, right, with a strong force. And in his arrogance, he went into the sanctuary and took the gold altar, the lampstand. This in 143 BC, not 70 AD. It says he went into the sanctuary, took the gold altar, the lampstand for the light, and all the furniture, and the table of presentation of bread, cups, and the bowls, and the gold censers and the curtains, crowns, the ornamentations on the front of the temple, and he stripped it all off. Took it, the silver and the gold and the choice dishes. He took the secret treasures which he found, took them all, and went back to his own country. He massacred. See that? He massacred people and spoke with great arrogance. Ain't that what's happening to us now? And there was a great mourning everywhere throughout Israel. Rulers, elders groaned, girls and young men fainted away. The beauty of the women was altered. Every bridegroom began to lament, and she that was in the bridal chamber grieved. The very earth was shaken over the inhabitants, and the whole house of Jacob was covered with shame. Right? So let's keep going. It says, all right, says, the king wrote to his whole kingdom, that they should be all become one people, and everyone should give up his particular practice, and all the heathens ascended to the command of the king. So this Antiochus from the Greeks, right? It's the end of the Greek kingdom. He showed up in Jerusalem. This is what he's doing. What I just read. I'm gonna read some more, but all the nations around teamed up with him because they all had a hatred for the Israelites, right? So he says, and many says, and not only that, he had a group of Negroes, Boule, that assisted with him too. We in the same situation right now. So he says, and all the heathens ascended to the command of the king. These are the nations around. And many from Israel, Boule Negro, and many from Israel agreed to this kind of worship, right? Many Negroes agreeing to New Testament. And when you bring the truth to them, they still going along with it. So it says right here, and many from the Israel agreed with this kind of worship and offered sacrifices to idols and to broke the Sabbath. Look at this. And the king sent word by messengers to Jerusalem and the towns of Judah to follow practices foreign to the country and put a stop to whole burnt offerings, right? This is the lifeline of the Israelite. Burnt sacrifices to their God. And they put a stop to whole burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings at the sanctuary, and to break the Sabbath, profane the feast, and pollute the sanctuary. This all got to do with us as our culture. This our lifeline, right? They stopped all this and built altars and sacrifice and sacred precincts and idol temples and sacrifice hogs and unclean cattle, and to leave the sons uncircumcised. Right here, see, this is the golden cord for the Israelite male, which in turn he's the head of the household. And so this is the sign of each one of them household is that he's circumcised. He was circumcised on the 8th day. These heathens and these Gentiles came and cut that off. See, and to leave, see that? Lead their sons uncircumcised, defile themselves with every unclean and profane practice, so that they might forget the law and change all their religious ordinances. And anyone who did not obey the commands of the king should die. Now you see why we talking about the law was done away with? And the law was a schoolmaster. This is where it comes from right here. It's an attack on the Israelite and it's a culture. Say, he wrote to his whole kingdom to this effect, and he appointed inspectors over all the people, and he ordered the towns of Judah and everyone in them to offer sacrifices. And many of the people and everyone who was ready to forsake the law joined them, and they did wrong in the land and forced Israel to hide in every hiding place they had. This is how we got to where we at. This is where it started. And from here, the Most High tells you it practice and prosper. So it started right here. So how did it prosper? It prospered and it evolved into the New Testament. That's what happened. So like I said, you can fumble with it if you want to and try to make this garbage work. It's on you. So anyway, that's how we got to where we at. And so now we at the end of it. And the Most High got to break it all down, like he said. He said a stone was going to hit the image at the feet, and it's going to crumble and blow away like dust in the wind. Chaff. That's what we're looking at. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm going to open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments they want to talk about? I'll dialogue on for a minute. Okay. I want to read this article right here I got about Russia, pertaining to what I've been telling you all morning. It says, if you've been listening to the news, Finland and particularly other country is trying to go into NATO, trying to get protection from Putin. And the reason why the Russian and Ukraine war is going on is because Putin cutting off Ukraine from NATO. NATO was trying to get Ukraine to join them, right? So let's look at it. So it says Russia hold it. Just the last couple of days, Finland and this other country, I can't think of the name of it, somebody can help me. Finland was trying to they put in application to become NATO, right? So guess what? Russia today and yesterday halted all the gas exports to Finland on Saturday. A highly symbolic move that came just days after the Nordic country announced it wanted to join NATO and marked a likely end to Finland's nearly 50 years of importing natural gas from Russia. And the measure taken by the Russian energy giant Gazprom was in line with an earlier announcement following Zelensky's refusal to pay for the gas in rubles, as Russian President Vladimir Putin has demanded European countries to do since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. So let's put this in context. It says, as Russian President Vladimir Putin has demanded European countries. So who are these European countries? These are heathens right here that we just saw participated in denigrating Israel. What I just read. They participated in denigrating Israel, denigrating their history and their law. And not only that, they got together in Berlin and chopped up the land, the Africa, including the Middle East and all that. They chopped it all up, divided the land up. These countries.
Right. So I think you were trying to think of Sweden.
Finland
and Sweden.
Okay, yeah, it might be. See, I think Sweden already part of NATO.
It says NATO talks with Finland and Sweden will continue. So
okay, yeah. So yeah, all right. So it's Finland and Sweden. So yeah,
right.
So let me read. Right. Okay. So it says a Finnish state-owned gas company, Gazprom, said that natural gas supplies to Finland under the Gazprom supply contract have been cut off by Russia on Saturday morning. That's this morning at 7 a.m. local time. And the announcement follows Moscow's decision to cut off electricity exports to Finland earlier in this month, and an earlier decision by Finnish state-controlled oil companies, Neste, to place imports of Russian crude oil from elsewhere. So I said, after the decade of energy cooperation that was seen beneficial for both Zelensky, particularly in his case of inexpensive Russian crude oil, and Moscow, Finland's energy ties with Russia are now all but gone. So, like I said before, it's total chaos, and all this stuff is it ain't but one place is headed. It ain't good. And so, any comments on that? It's like a double bang. That was part one of what I'm trying to get across. Let me go part two right here. Man.
China is rapidly overthrowing America on the global economic stage. Since the global financial crisis, the U.S. economy has decayed and declined, while the Chinese economy has skyrocketed, recording what some define as miracle economic growth year after year. The Eastern superpower has established itself as the key trading partner of most countries in the world. It is now a leading position in global supply chains. It produces more commodities and automobiles, and it exports more tech than the United States. It sends way more goods to America every year than America exports goods to China. In fact, our trade deficit with China has become the largest trade deficit that one nation has had with another nation in the history of the world. On top of all that, China has now accumulated more than $1 trillion of U.S. national debt in its reserves. And every single year, we lose hundreds of thousands of jobs to China. In other words, if the global economy was a game, America would be losing very badly, and China would have all the momentum. If you do not believe that China is wiping the floor with America in the front of the rest of the world. Keep tuned with us to discover some mind-blowing stats about the rise of the Chinese economy and the downfall of the U.S. economy in the global market. But before checking this list, please support us by leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel so you don't miss our future videos. Without further ado, here are 30 signs that China is absolutely destroying America. 1. According to IMF calculations, the average purchasing power of Chinese consumers is 1.18 times higher than the purchasing power of U.S. consumers. 2. The IMF's purchasing power parity method, which takes into account the effect of exchange rates, making it the best method for comparing gross domestic product, or GDP, by country, indicates that in 2019, China officially became the largest producer in the world. While the Chinese economy produced $22.5 trillion, the U.S. economy only produced $20.5 trillion. 3. World Bank data shows that with each passing year, the Chinese GDP is getting closer to the U.S. GDP. In 1960, China's gross domestic product was 13% of U.S. GDP. By 2021, that number jumped to 73%, a five-fold increase. 4. Since 1970, China's maximum GDP growth rate was 19.3%. Meanwhile, the U.S.'s maximum GDP growth rate during the same period was 7.24%. GDP growth rate was negative in 8 years for the U.S. The United States has lost 3.7 million manufacturing jobs to China. 26. Back in the year 2000, over 20% of all jobs in America were manufacturing jobs. Right now, only about 5% of all jobs in America are manufacturing jobs. 27. According to estimates released by the Economic Policy Institute, America is going to lose 500,000 jobs to China this year. 28. Based on Pew Research Center's income band classification, China's middle class has been among the fastest growing in the world, swelling from 39.1 million people, or about 3.1% of the population, in 2000.
Okay, so you probably asking yourself, what's up, Mike? Yeah, so you probably asking yourself, you know, why are you showing you this? Well, we looking at this real time. Like I said, it's 2000. This is May 21, 2022, and you see right here from the video, the guy showing you that China is coming behind America. But guess what? Look at what these Edomites have concocted in the New Testament, that and what's being conveyed to us is that America was the end of America, is, you know, the end of the world and all this stuff. So let's look at that. We'll move on. So I'm in the pocket. You know what I mean? First half, like quick. This is important. So Daniel had a vision from an angel from Gabriel, who told him about the four beasts. But not only that, Ezra had a vision of the four beasts too. And we're gonna read what it say. Okay. Okay. You get it. Okay, yeah, so it says right here. Okay, it says in let me get it. It says, listen, and I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, or this Gabriel talking to Ezra, listen, I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, or ye not all that is left of the 4 animals that I have made to reign on my earth. So this is the 4 beasts. It's 2nd Ezra chapter 11. I'm at verses 38. It says, so that thou through the end of my times might come. So this is the end of time. And you are the 4th to come. And you have conquered all the animals that are past. The 4 animals before it. The lion, the ram, and then the leopard. So he says, you are the 4th of all to come, and you have conquered all the animals that were past, and you have held the world in subjection and terror, and the whole earth is harsh oppression, and you have so long in the world, you have lived so long in the world with deceit. So this 4 beasts is deception. Ain't nothing truth about this 4 beasts, right? Except deceit. And you have not judged the earth with truth. You have persecuted the meek and hurt the peaceable. You have hated those who tell the truth and love lies, right? So, and you have destroyed the dwelling of the faithful and torn down the walls of those who did you no harm. And your insolence has reached the Most High, and your pride the Mighty One. And the Most High have looked at his times, and behold, they are ended, and the age are complete. Therefore you will surely disappear, you eagle, and your dreadful wings, and your malignant wings, and your malignant heads, and your cruel talents, and your whole worthless body, so that the whole earth may be freed from your violence, and be refreshed and relieved, and hope for justice and mercy of him who made her, right? So what we see right here, this 4th beast ain't, like I said, is nothing but deceit and treachery. So what we reading right here is the vision, right, that he had. Now I'm gonna read what he tells him when he came and break it down to him. He says, this is the meaning of the vision. I'm not gonna read all of it. It's 12 and I'm starting at 12 and 11. 2nd Ezra 12, verse 11. This is the meaning of the vision you have seen. For the eagle that you have saw rising from the sea, it is the 4th kingdom. That's where we at right now. That appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. But it was not explained to him as I explained it to you, or I have explained it. Behold, the days are coming when the kingdom will arise on the earth, right? It's already happened, the 4 beasts. And it will be more terrible than all the kingdoms that were before it. Moreover, look at this, 12 kings shall reign over it. They tell us over there it's 10 kings. We tell you right here, 12 kings shall reign over it. But watch how they reign. One after the other. And then it says, but the second who reigned will rule longer than the 12. That was Augustus Caesar. This is the meaning of the 12 wings that you saw. And therefore you're hearing the voice that spoke. It came from his head, but not from the head, but from the middle of the body. This is the meaning. So what's just been conveyed is these are what makes the 4 beasts different than the other 3, that it keep existing, and what it's doing is it's relocating. You got a blueprint, and it'll set up in one place, and then it'll rain there for a while, and then it'll move. So we see that it jumped all over the place. Great Britain ruled the world at one time. Charlemagne ruled it. This 4 beasts started moving, started relocating. So now we see that process that was conveyed by 2nd Ezra right here. We looking at America going down, but it ain't the end. It ain't the end. China is pretty much already ruling the world. It ain't no different than in the Second World War when America came and assisted Great Britain. Great Britain couldn't hold off the Germans. So America had to come in. And by doing that, it took over the world, took over control of the world. It's all prophecy. He said he was going to reign one in his own time, one after another one. Not no 10 people coming together at the end with the Antichrist. That's garbage. So how we know that? What I just showed you. We see America dissipating, and we see China already on the world scene. The final beast. We see that. We see that. We see the understanding of that right here. And then you look back in the previous situation, the same thing happened. Spain. That's where the Edomites went to in 70 AD. They're the ones that ran out in 70 AD. They went to Spain. Spain ruled the world. Then what those Edomites do? Came over here on ships and set this place up. Then all of a sudden, Great Britain started ruling. By that time, America getting built up. Then America came on the scene and took over from Great Britain. All the power and the beast and relocated here. And then back in the 80s, they started building up China. And he just gave you the rundown on that. They started out with 10% of the world's industry, and now all of a sudden now they ruling the world. Because these Edomites, the whore, you got Israel, which is a woman, that's the real woman that the Lord of hosts married to, but you got a whore that's faking as the woman. It's two women. You got a whore that's acting like Israel. That's the Edomites. And they the ones behind the scenes ruling the world today. They the ones behind all the drama. And they the ones causing these shifts from one place to the next. They the bankers. Like they said, they give us the nation's money. We don't care what they do. We don't give a damn what they do. As long as we control the money of that nation, we're gonna dictate everything. So that's what they've been doing. They brought America into existence for a reason. They the ones conspired to get Israel over here. They brought us over here. They the ones over the slave ship. They the ones came here and so-called discovered America, killed off all the Indians with poison and diseases, and then brought us over here. Made a truckload of money. They got all the money in the world based off of slave trade and capitalism. Now they're going somewhere else, China. And we see America going down, China rising, just like he just told us, one after another one. Not no 10 men coming together with no one mind to combine with the Antichrist. That's garbage. We looking at it. Head up. We looking right here. What's going on? It's a transformation happening. We through history, we see that the Britain went down, America came up. America and Great Britain weren't ruling at the same time. Spain and Britain weren't ruling at the same time. And before that, Charlemagne, all these was in succession, one after the other. We're looking at it coming to a head right now. And so that's why I'm showing you the video. The man showing you right at point blank. It ain't nobody coming together, putting their minds together. These Edomites got a system in place, a blueprint, and they got it in a briefcase. And when they come and set it up over here and suck all the resources out of a certain place, and then not being able to fall, they just relocate it. Take that blueprint somewhere else and bring all the resources, all the lies, the New Testament with it, because the New Testament part of it, and relocate to another place. And set it up again in another place with and all the money and wealth they bring with them. But that's coming to an end. Once I said he's gonna shut it down. I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna go into this. I'll go into the class. So it says, and as for you seeing 2 additional wings crossing over to the head, to the right side. This is the meaning. Like I said, we see two people right now, Russia and China. And it is this that the Most High has kept for the eagle's end, for their reign was short and full of disturbances. That's what we're looking at, as you saw. And as for the lion, here go the lion that you saw rousing out of the forest and speaking to the eagle and rebuking him for his wickedness and all his words that you have heard. He is the anointed one who the Most High has kept until the end of days, who will spring from the prosperity of David and come and talk with him. We already see all that happening. We see the Israelites waking up all over the place. They ain't going. I mean, when Spain made the transition to rule the world, and when America made the transition to rule the world, Israelites went away. But this times where we in right now, can't compare to the rest of the times. Those other transitions, they making a transition now, but the Israelites woke up. Big ass difference. So it ain't gonna be no smooth. This last transition that we're looking at, the reason why it's in the uproar and turmoil going on, because the Israelites done woke up, and the Most High is showed up over them. It ain't going down like the other ones went down. Ain't gonna be no smooth transition. Okay. So with that being said, what you say?
I was saying so true.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
go ahead.
I was saying you want to alter Clubhouse till 1. It's 11:42.
No, I'm just going to shine light on 2 Samuel chapter 7 and then I'll go out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to shine light on the covenant of David, because this is what I'll be talking about on Clubhouse. So I'm just going to take it over there to Clubhouse. It says the covenant of David, which is just the covenant of David. I'm gonna read this, and I got a little something I want to play, and I'm gonna close out. You got a covenant with David. You ain't got no covenant with JC. That's fictitious. So here go the covenant he got, and it's in 2 Samuel. It says, let me get it. 2 Samuel chapter 7 says he used Nathan the seer to convey this to David. He picked it up in verse 4. It says, it came to pass, chapter 2 Samuel 7 and 4. Came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus says the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in, whereas I have not dwelt in a house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, and in all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribe of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye me a house of cedar? Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus says the Lord of hosts, I will take thee from the sheepfold, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel. And I was with thee whatsoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name, like the name of the men that are name of the great men that are in the earth. And moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in the place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more. Say, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies, also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee a house. So this is the covenant right here with David. And then when thy days are fulfilled, I shall sleep with thy fathers. When David passed away, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build me a house, my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. And I will be his father, he shall be my son, and if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. So the covenant is with David that when you pass away, your posterity, out of your lineage. Anybody that gets on this throne gonna be out of your lineage. Ain't no man gonna sit on your throne that ain't out of your lineage. That's the covenant we got with David. And then when you go back, most people don't know this. Most people go back, all the kings in Israel came out of David's lineage. If they didn't, it was a problem. It was a breach in Israel, right? It caused chaos and confusion. So guess what? JC ain't out of David's lineage. That's where the chaos and confusion coming from. They done put these nations, these heathens, got together and put a king in Israel that ain't out of David's lineage. And it's total chaos and confusion amongst the Israelites, especially now that we're waking up. So they been planted a bogus king in Israel. That's what the problem is. So with that being said, I'm gonna expound on that over on Clubhouse. So I'm gonna play this here and then we're gonna close out. Okay, here we go. Give me a minute. Yeah, so like I was saying, you have to understand that he got Most High have a covenant with David, and like I said before, you can't have a covenant with David. Can't nobody be on the throne of Israel. If there's anybody on the throne of Israel and they didn't come out of David's lineage, that's a serious problem. And so when the people that orchestrated the New Testament, they made it a point. They're so busy trying to appeal to the heathen, because the heathen, the one concept of having immaculate conception is paganism. But they trying to appeal to the pagans and to get them to convert to this new religion they created. So they had to put that concept in there. But what it did was it exposed the fact that she was immaculate conceived. So if Joseph is out of David's lineage, and the angel came and overshadowed Mary, and they said this holy thing that's in Mary is from the Lord, then he ain't out of David's lineage. David's lineage is being followed through a seed line from umbilical cord to umbilical cord. That was cut off. When the angel came and overshadowed Mary, that was cut off. So like I said, you get you donut and some coffee and let that ferment. Think about it. In a way, you understand how it works. That's the whole purpose. The only way Cain killed Abel. The only way the Most High can get another man in his likeness was he had to go in Eve. And he got self in his likeness, in his image. So if Joseph carrying the seed line of David, then he got to go into Mary to get JC. But that's not the case. Here we go. Okay.
Have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do at this point will not really matter because your skin color has already confessed to the crime. All right. You have the right to an attorney who will try his hardest to see that justice is served, but a jury of your peers, aka our attorneys, will have him outmatched 12-1. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you free of charge because he is also on our payroll. Do you understand these rights as they have been read to you? Whoa, 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 don't move. I see you reaching for your 9mm wallet. I see you reaching for your 38 caliber inhaler. Whoa, I said don't move. Stop breathing. You're puffing up your chest. I feel threatened. Stop resisting arrest. Is that a weapon? Lay down. No. Face down. No. Face ground. Bang. Pow. Oops, I did it again. I'm a pop star. No, I'm a pop star. No, I'm a cop star. No, by the time I get back to the precinct, I will be a rock star. Clap for 'em. I have more trophies with black names on them than BET award winners. Clap for 'em. I will probably be honored at the NYPD award dinner. Clap for 'em. They are going to throw me a parade. Clap for 'em, because when I clap for 'em, they go to the grave. Black boys' cries fall on deaf white ears. Black mothers' tears keep graveyard grass green. Black mothers' tears keep graveyard grass green, and black men's bones are the gavel with which judges finalize false convictions. Wake up, black boys. It's time to declare war. I wonder if Trayvon Martin's mother, how she feels that her son is a household name and he is not a household body. I wonder if Freddie Gray's family can still say grace over their food, even though their prayers could not stop the thief that robbed him of his last breath. I wonder when Tamir Rice died playing cops and robbers, if he still saw the former more innocent than the latter. I wonder if black women feel closer to God because they're steady having to lay to rest their only begotten sons. I wonder if black people's skin got darker because we're closer to the sun, then how many years will it take us to grow bulletproof skin because we're closer to the guns? I wonder if black people's skin got darker because we're closer to the sun, how many years it will take us to grow bulletproof skin because we're closer to the guns. I'm tired of going to funerals where babies are being buried in boxes bigger than the ones they used to put their toys in. I'm tired of not being able to say, see you later to my friends. We're steady practicing our goodbye words to each other. I'm tired of not being able to tell my girlfriend, let's wait until we're married. I'm scared she will walk down the aisle and see me in a box before she sees me in a tuxedo. I'm tired because I'm forced to stay woke in a society whose laws are written as lullabies to black people. I'm tired. I wonder if America will be alarmed when she wakes up and sees black folk ain't sleeping no more because the American dream is the African American nightmare. I'm tired because I'm forced to stay woke. And if I finally go to sleep, I might stay asleep forever.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, and I'll see you on the other side.